Welcome to Doing It My Way by Beata Matras, a podcast about project and product management, communication, brand, and IT. All these topics will definitely improve and have a positive impact on your career. So join me today, subscribe, and expect a new episode every week. Thank you. In today's episode, we're delving into the world of IT and business from an inspiring woman's perspective, Aga Sobczak, exploring how mindset and support systems shape our journey, both professional and personal. My guest today is an amazing woman who joined the tech industry 4 months ago, known for her brave and authentic approach and her focus on effective and supportive cooperation within the team. Let's uncover the stories and strategies that define success for women in business. Welcome to the show, Aga.
Hello, Beata, and I hope that will be helpful to someone, part of my story, because, that's the most important, that someone can take some inspiration, hopefully, and gain something from it.
I'm sure it will be. I'm sure. And to kick off, Aga, can you share what you're doing and your professional story? How did you get to the point you're at now?
Okay, that's a pretty long story. I remember one girl asked me, basically, I want to be where you are, and how do I get there? And for me, it's like, okay, it's a really long story. It's like the last, let's say, 20 years of my life. So it's all the steps on the way. It's not one line. It's been, going around and trying different things and trying to find myself and what's most interesting for me, and listening to myself and basically following my intuition, which I didn't know I had. I do know now, but before it was more like, just following something that was interesting to me. And it's a long story because I studied economy and management accounting, so it's completely different from the place where I am now. And after that, after some years of working as an accountant, I moved to London, where I lived for 12 years. Few little jobs I had at the beginning. It's like normal stuff in London, working in a pub or something like this. Very easy jobs and very basic jobs, let's say, in comparison to what I'm doing now. But then I worked as a finance and resources manager for years. And also I organized an art festival, which was also very interesting because I was able to deal with different aspects of certain things. So finance, logistics, even catering, dealing with volunteers, public speaking, all of it together. And only recently, probably a year ago, I realized that this is called a generalist. So someone who's got a bigger picture and can see, broadly rather than being an expert in one field. And following my interest in people, I was joining different courses in London, starting with HR, because I thought HR is the thing to do with people, isn't it? But then more and more I went into coaching. So I studied coaching at different courses in London. And then I did a course for a business trainer because I wanted to help people to develop. And my journey was deeper and deeper. And then I certified as a relationship coach. So bringing it all together, all those years, all those different experiences, different courses and skills. A couple of years ago, when I moved back to Poland again, I worked as a recruiter. So, but then I was learning about Polish job market because I haven't been here for 16 years. So you can imagine that I had no clue how it works here. And also I didn't know people in Poland anymore. I had more connections in London or internationally. And this is how I saw Tech Leaders mentorship course, which I was lucky to join as a mentee. And that was the beginning of kind of going into IT as well, IT field, because I met a lot of mentors in this field. And also I started being interested in it. I started learning about IT job market and IT in general a little bit. And yeah, and end of last year in October, I joined Football Co as a team coordinator for the developers team. And that's my current job. That's my current thing. But in heart, I'm a coach, so I love supporting people and their potential, and also developing themselves in an authentic way, which is very important to me, in an authentic way, but also connected with courage. So yeah, it's been a long journey. It wasn't linear, but getting to know myself more and more on the way, I realized what I really enjoy, what I really like, and what I'm good at. So this is important, because sometimes you can be good at something, but you don't like it so much. Like, for example, I was good at finances, but that wasn't my passion. My heart wasn't there. But people, that's definitely where my heart is.
It's an inspiring story. And you said that you are generalist, yeah? You have a bigger picture.
Mhm.
I call these kind of people, and I see myself also as this kind of person,
Mhm.
starfish. We're like starfish. I like this kind of animal comparisons because we have like a lot of interests, also like a lot of experiences with different things. Because, for example, we
Mhm.
do a lot and we tend not to be afraid of doing and trying a lot of things instead of like being an expert in one field. And yeah, and I think it's kind of also changing the narrative if you think about yourself as generalist, as a person of a variety of interest instead of expert in one field. Yeah, because I think sometimes we tend to hear that, if people are not experts, that means that they are not going to be good at anything. Yeah. Maybe there is other way of seeing actually a bigger picture and not being the kind of a specialist in one field, because we are all different. Yeah, and we all have a kind of.
Yeah, and we also need different people for different things, and it's
Yeah.
all. I also call it multi-passionate, as Marie Forleo calls it. That's
Hmm.
another name for it. I remember I went to one of the interviews for a job in Poland. Actually, also very international, recruiting, supporting people in their CVs and their profiles, etc. And there was a test where you are either, for example, an expert, which is like, let's say, 20 years of developing a very narrow skill and being better and better in it, or even like kind of jumping on the career levels from the bottom to the top, but it's still this like very expert path. In my case, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like someone who likes changing, let's say, every 3 years, but with the topics which are kind of close and close and close, or sometimes even, not that close to what you're doing at the moment, because, okay, I can still do finances, but I was going towards HR. From HR, I was doing more into coaching. From coaching, I was also interested in marketing, employer branding, and branding in general. So it's like I've got a set of skills, different skills, a little bit from different topics, but I'm not an expert in branding. I'm not an expert in marketing, but I also enjoy it. I also like knowing something about it, because then I've got this bigger picture where I can put those things together, and and understand how they work together. So how they link, how you can use branding when you are doing recruitment, and also how you can brand yourself when having a LinkedIn profile, for example, even. So it's like very helpful in many different areas, let's say.
Yeah. Especially in, for example, like getting to know new people and networking. That's also super helpful because then you can speak like about a lot of topics, um,
Yeah.
with different people. Yeah, because you always
Mm-hmm.
have a kind of these pods of interesting information regarding
Mm.
like different areas and different types of life or career or yeah, whatever. But coming back to your professional journey, you mentioned tech leaders mentoring, and probably that was one of the things that shaped shaped you to a professional you are now. But what were the other things?
I mean, I'm a person who loves exploring in general. So I follow, as you know, there is this book, Follow Your Bliss by Joseph Campbell, or at least this concept. And that's what I do. I try following my bliss, which is like whatever is kind of shiny for me and exciting, I check this out. So that was with coaching, for example, and all of the workshops, like self-development workshops, but also workshops like even therapeutic workshops and inner journey for myself, because this is how I know myself as a human being much better. And that's something that shapes me a lot, because I'm trying different things. I'm jumping into certain things, and I see where it takes me. So that's how I jumped into Tech Leaders mentoring program as a mentee, because it just appeared in front of me on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, there's a couple of days to the deadline, but it's here for the reason. I believe in it, that if something comes to you, you see it, and you kind of feel excited about it. In my opinion, that's there for a reason. And I just go into it. I jump there and see what comes up. Maybe it's just an experience. Maybe it's, something more that will lead me somewhere else. I don't analyze it, whether I will have some specific outcome. I basically try and see where it leads me. Maybe I can meet the one person who might guide me somewhere else. You never know.
It was like with our meeting, yeah. I made
Exactly.
by mistake. I wrote to you because I wanted to get some details around Tech Leaders program, and I wrote to you, and you were like, "Oh, I think I'm not the proper person." And then I came back to you, like saying, like, "Hi, I think this is a sign that we should actually talk together." Yeah, and that's how
Yeah, have
we
an
ended
online
up, like.
coffee.
Yeah, and that's how I was inspired by your story, and I decided like to invite you to my podcast, and here we are today. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the one thing that were particularly interesting to me was your mindset. So can you share your thoughts on the importance of the mindset, particularly I think in like overcoming tendencies that we as women very often, unfortunately, see each other as victims. I have to admit, we do that. We tend to do that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there are some differences, let's say, in earning, in percentage of women on the management, in the management roles, etc., etc. But I think it's a lot to do with what we think about ourselves. So there is this like thing going on around that a woman, when she is to apply for a job, she needs to meet like probably 98% of the requirements. Whereas if it's a man and it's like 40, 50, he's like, yeah, I'm great. I'm perfect candidate, and just applies and then goes and sells himself, and it's all good. Yeah. So women, I think quite often it's to do with their self-confidence and self-worth, basically. So that's something, in my opinion, that it's very important to work on, because if you feel confident, but I'm not saying about this artificial confidence that really comes from your inside, from your heart, that you know what you've done in life, what you've achieved, what you're good at, what your skills are, what are your successes, and don't minimalize it. Just own it, because I mean, oh no, it's just happened. That's what women say often. They're like, oh no, yeah, that was luck or whatever. And just minimalizing their achievements, it doesn't help. So, in my opinion, starting from like, okay, if I miss some skills, if I need to learn them, go for it and learn it if you don't feel like you are good enough in the skill, but not good enough in general. And also, many people have imposter syndrome, which is connected. I mean, it's not only women, men also have it. And also people who are very even famous, and if they speak in public, there are celebrities, there are singers, very well-known actors, etc. They still have it from time to time. So just imagine that many people deal with it, even those who are very successful. So just kind of having this in mind that it's a human thing, and how can I overcome it for myself? What works the best for me? I think that's pretty important.
You mentioned very important things like your words shape your reality. Be
Yeah.
proactive. So if you don't know something, just learn it. And the last thing is kind of embrace your imposter syndrome. Yeah, at like be aware that we all have it, yet we are doing things together with our imposter syndrome. Even if I have to admit it's not easy, because I'm also like having that imposter syndrome is like haunting me from time to time, especially when something good is happening in my life. Like yesterday, for example, last week, not yesterday, but yeah, last week, I got the invites for the conferences as a speaker. And at first I was like, yes, hooray, amazing. Yeah, oh my God, I did it. And 2 days later, I was basically sitting alone, thinking like, oh my God, I need to prepare my
Mm-hmm.
speech. I need to go there. There will be like hundreds of people. It will be streamlined like online. How can I do that? Or maybe I'm not good enough. And you know what? And I was stressed, so I decided to write a post on LinkedIn admitting that I actually have that. I feel that I'm scared, but I'm still going to do that.
Of course, and that's the thing.
Yeah, and that helps. Yeah, instead of running away, I decided to just face it. Yeah, and admit, yeah, I have it. I'm feeling that now, but I'm still going to overcome it.
That means you are human.
Yay!
That's just normal. I mean, and there is one, because I also help people sometimes to overcome fear of public speaking, because I do sometimes some workshops, online and offline, and smaller groups and bigger groups. It depends, but. And I did one speech once in front of hundreds of people in Warsaw, and that was really scary because that was my first time. But the thing is, what helps is, that's actually a tip from Mel Robbins, and she says, you can decide whether you are scared or excited, because in your body, the feeling and the impressions are very similar. So instead of saying, oh, I'm scared, oh my gosh, you can say, I'm excited, and you decide for yourself that you're excited.
It's changing the narrative. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
telling
The feeling is
yourself
still the
a better
same in your
story.
body, but
Yeah.
then you are like, I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah. It's like telling yourself a better lie.
It's not a lie. It's actually apparently it feels the same in your body.
Yeah.
So that's your decision whether the same feeling in your body is fear or it's excitement.
And we also like touched the topic about kind of also like limiting beliefs. How how to build awareness about our limiting beliefs and their influence and the impact they have on us when we believe in them and let them control us.
I think a lot is to do with self-awareness. So basically, you need to stop from time to time and reflect. Because if you are running all the time, if you're busy all the time, you can't notice the thoughts and the sentences that you are telling to yourself. So whenever you stop for a moment and just see, what are the thoughts that come to me, and let's say, oh, I'm stupid, or I don't have enough knowledge, whatever, I'm not good enough, whatever it is, you need to write it down. And then, in my opinion, you can try to, one thing is to find some situations from your life where actually you were good enough, you shared some knowledge, you did something that actually is in opposition to this belief. And also there's something called The Work by Byron Katie, where are the questions you can answer for yourself, which are actually working well with limiting beliefs, where, for example, one of the question is that really true? And then you just need to stop and go through those questions and really answer them. But because we like generalizing in life, we like to say, oh, I'm always doing this, or I never do this, or whatever. I'm always scared. I'm always not delivering things on time, or whatever it is in your case. And I don't think it's true, because when we generalize like this, it's just not true, because I'm sure you will find some situations in your life and moments where actually you did it, you managed this, you delivered certain things, you succeeded. So it's just you trying to convince yourself and just repeating this limiting belief, which is not true. And the other thing is that our limiting beliefs very often come from our childhood. So we are actually repeating something that we heard from people close to us, whether it was a parent or a sibling or an aunt or a neighbor. But if you've heard something many times as a child, then you think like this defines you. But actually, it's just a sentence that you heard many times when you were a kid. And that's nothing to do with you. And it's not true. For example, my brother, I remember when I was like a kid, or an early teenager, he used to tell me that you are stupid very often. And at some point, I think I just believed in it, So dealing with this and building your self-confidence again and self-worth, like saying, actually, no, I'm not stupid. I've done so many things in my life. I've done so many courses. I moved to London. I got a job as a finance and resources manager in a different country, working with, native speakers, British people, learning English before, and delivering a lot of value and organizing this international festival and dealing with many people in a team and whatever else. There's no place for this belief anymore.
Yeah, but it definitely needs, stepping out from the comfort zone and actually trying, actually doing things. And, part of women will never have enough courage to actually make this one step forward, to actually come out of the comfort zone and try if these limiting beliefs or these beliefs that they have for now and that they are like repeating to themselves from the childhood, are they actually true? And I'm saying that because I'm s- I still am I am a one of these women um who doubt in themselves, who think that they do not deserve everything that they earned. And it was a tough journey. It's still a tough journey. Yeah. It's like every day I'm choosing to behave differently that what my schemes or patterns in my mind are telling me. It's a journey. It's not like it's a journey.
It's a journey, and very important thing that you said, it's a decision as well, that you want to work on it, or you want to go out of this comfort zone. I mean, no one else will live our lives for us. We need to do it for ourselves. And fair enough, if someone is happy to stay in one place forever, that's their choice. And the thing is that we can't force people to change. They really want to change themselves. They need to feel it. They need to want it inside. Let's say that you've got a partner. This is just a bit of a different story. But let's say that you have a partner and you develop, you're learning, working on yourself, you're getting more and more self-confident, but also more and more self-aware. And let's say that you want a relationship which is something really meaningful, and you've got a partner who stopped like 10 years ago when you started meeting each other and he's still there, and you moved a lot in the meantime. At some point there is such a big gap that if you can inspire him, but if he's not inspired, if he doesn't want to change, you can't change him, you can't force to change him. At some point people just need to part their ways and go different directions, because it's impossible. You are somewhere else, you are a different person, and he's still there. So that's maybe an example from a different, let's say, area of life. But yeah, we can't force people to change. So if someone is happy where they are, they can stay there. The worst, in my opinion, is if someone is not happy where they are and they moan and complain all the time about how bad it is in their life, but they're not changing anything. But still, I mean, that's their choice.
Yeah, that's the choice. That's the choice. And it's like really difficult sometimes to accept that we are making these choices. Yeah, we are making a choice that we're not developing, that we are not changing our situation, that we are, as you mentioned, for example, in a place where, or in a relationship, for example, that doesn't satisfy us anymore. And yeah, and it's also our choice to, or decision to not move on. Yeah, to not change anything.
Just
But
what I want, what
yeah.
yeah, sorry. What came to my mind is probably we would like to talk about it later as well. But what came to my mind, I think, what's important that if we have people who support us among us, like close to us, whether they are friends, whether they are, I don't know, parents or mentors or coaches or people at work, whoever it is, but someone who actually sees our potential and who supports us in the journey. So not someone who brings you down. If you've got an idea, oh, I want to do this great thing, this has been in my mind forever, or I want to change a job because this one doesn't satisfy me anymore. And there are people like, what's wrong with you? I mean, you've got a job, you've got a husband, you've got, I don't know, a tree and a flat, and you should be happy. Why are you coming up with these crazy ideas that you're never satisfied? But it's not that you are not satisfied. It's like you've got some ambitions, let's say, and they are healthy. I'm not talking about like crazy ambition about getting power or whatever, but like ambitions that you want to follow something that calls you. And why not? Then you can't have people who just bring you down. You need to have people around who are supporting you and believing in you.
Yeah. However, if you are, in a situation that you're surrounded by people who are not, for example, supporting you because they are like, yeah, again, like saying like, but why? You should be happy. You have amazing, life. You should be satisfied with what you have. And this is like, there is a part where it's true, because we should, I mean, the happiness or the satisfaction starts within, not with the world around us, I think. But if we feel that we really want to change something and we really want to try something, I think we should follow that. There is no other choice, there is no other option, because in a few years we'll regret that we didn't try. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, even if you try and it doesn't work the way you thought it would be, it doesn't matter, because then you can say at the end of your life, I've tried this, I followed this call, and that's what happened. And also, in the US, they have this culture, let's say, where if you fail in something, that's normal. This is part of your learning. and you can have, I don't know, within one lifetime 5-10 businesses. One didn't work, okay, next, and next and next. I think it's more like normal, let's say normal, in the society in the US, that if you fail, you stand up and you just go and do something else, and then something else. No one is, I mean, I'm sure there are people blaming, but it's more culturally accepted that, you know, it's not a failure, it's a learning curve, and it's a part of your journey and development.
Yeah, you either learn or win. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the kind
Exactly.
of approach, yeah. And I think, in within like this topic, we can move on to more like people management in tech, because what you're saying and what you're like teaching others, I think you also can implement it as a people manager. Yeah. So as a people manager, how do you like maintain maybe like close connections with your teams, and how do you like coach them, mentor them? How do you operate in that field?
So basically, because I like people in general, as I said, I'm really interested in people in general, in human nature, and I like this also cooperation with the team. So I'm pretty close with them. So in a way that, for example, we work remotely, but sometimes we meet in the office with few people who are locals, more or less. And I sit with them because I really like them as people, and also, you know, I like to be part of this bunch. So I'm pretty authentic. I'm not, I don't know, playing a manager or whoever, because we've got pretty flat structure as well, which is amazing. So even though obviously my role is a line manager, but it's not like the manager from the previous century. It's an authentic person who is really interested in them and their development and their well-being. So we have regular catch-ups every couple of weeks, more or less, with each person, and basically I give them as much time as they need. If someone needs 20 minutes, it's fine. If someone needs 2 hours, it's fine. I'm just adjusting the time to their needs. And I've always done it. I did it also with my team in London, because there are different people and people have different needs. So you can't put someone in the same box as someone else. I mean, I don't like putting people in boxes anyway. But I mean, it's not like school where you've got a factory with the same lessons for everyone, you know, going through the same tasks and the same approach towards everyone mostly. It's not a factory. So I try to really be flexible and give people what they need.
And how do you like differentiate being friendly and authentic with your team members, or your or people who report to you, and actually not being their friend but a manager?
We have, I mean, I'm a fan of radical feedback, which is coming mostly from the Netflix organizational culture. And I really believe in it, because it doesn't matter that I'm a manager and someone is, you know, in my team. I need a feedback as much as they need. And the feedback could be, you know, a praise, and the feedback could be something to improve. So I'm totally open to feedback from them as well, if they think that, you know, I've got something that I could think of or change or improve. And also, you know, if we discuss something, sometimes it's getting, you know, a little bit like in a relationship. You need to have a little conflict, put it on the table, talk about it, be sincere about it. Everyone speaks their mind, and then the situation clears. The worst thing, in my opinion, and that's all the relationships, romantic or what, at work, friends, parents, whatever, family. If you don't talk about it, if you don't talk about things, needs, and whatever is important in this relationship, or values, etc., then you put it under the carpet, and in the moment when you think everything is fine, then the fire starts and there's an explosion because someone just was holding it back inside of them. And that's not the point. I'd rather have conflict, deal with it, talk about it for 2 hours, even in a heated way if needed. But then, let's say, the air is cleaned, is cleared, and we can move on.
Yeah, it's like after the storm, yeah? The storm is coming, then it's happening, and then you feel that kind of
Relief.
refresh in the air, yeah? There this
Yeah,
kind of breeze, yeah.
yeah, it's not a storm, because the storm would be probably if we didn't talk about something important. Then it would be like, a bomb exploding. But here it's not a storm. It's just a little bit of, imagine that you, especially that I'm pretty new in the team because I've only been there 4.5 months. So you don't know the people, they don't me. We need to get to know each other, start to learning each other, our ways, etc., and trust each other. And that's how it works in the relationships as well. Even sometimes, imagine, I remember ages ago, my ex-boyfriend, long time ago, we moved together, and the story in many couples, probably the socks were everyone on the floor and things like this. And you don't like it, you need to talk about it, it drives you nuts. He's like, what's the problem? And there is a little bit of, just adjusting at the beginning, talking about the needs and how are we going to deal with it, and then move on.
Yeah, yeah. But if we're talking about, the teams, there are even like these levels where we are forming, storming, norming, and then performing. So these kind of storms or like little flashy lights or whatever we call that. Um, this is like a natural part, I think, of, a team. A team forming and starting to collaborate with each other, getting to know each other, yeah, then having some conflicts, and then it gets easier, yeah. And at some point, we start performing actually because we went through all these kind of stages of the team dynamics. If we are talking about the role that you're having right now, that you're doing right now, during our initial conversation, I remember you mentioned that your company like crafted the role based on the team needs rather than following the traditional templates. Can you tell more about that?
So actually, it was, let's say, combined effort of the team needs, the engineering manager, and the HR. But the team needs were gathered from them. What kind of person they would like, what this person would do, etc., etc. Oh, I know what I wanted to mention because it's pretty linked to this one. So I think what's important in building relationships, not only at work but all the relationships, is trust. And trust is based on delivering what you say. And that's also even relationship with yourself. If you say to yourself that you do something, you do it. If you say to someone that you do something, you do it. Or if you can't, then you are in touch, you communicate and say, okay, I can't do it within this time frame that we agreed. I would need to move it because I'm busy or I've got some other priorities at the moment. And that's what I do with the team. For example, I try to not promise anything I can't deliver, or say I try to do my best if I know that I will try to do my best, but that's not something dependent on me only, or not dependent on me so much. Or I communicate, even if, for example, in January, I was really busy in other topics, other priorities. I told them, I'm sorry, I need to, guys, leave you in a way that we won't have our regular catch-ups in January because I'm really prioritizing something else. But I was communicating it regularly. I was letting them know where I am, so that they know what's going on, not that I just disappeared magically and they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, communication, regular communication, that's very important. And emphasizing that actually the transparent communication, even if you are with not ready within the deadlines, yeah, even if you you are planning to do something, but you just struggle with time right now, if you come back to people and communicate it to them, that's better than just thinking, oh, maybe they forgot actually, so I will like
Oh, no,
sneak,
no,
and
no.
yeah, this is not the best choice. Or openly saying like, I'm sorry, like I overcommitted, I'm not able to do that, I need someone's
Yeah.
help.
Or I need some more time, or I need someone's help. Or, for example, if I need to move or catch up because of whatever reason, if I'm not there, or there's something else this day that was booked and I need to attend it, then I just write to this person, can we move or catch up to a different day? I will change it in the calendar. Are you okay with that? So basically just taking into account people, and also making sure that we communicate and they know what's going on and why, rather than just like, oh, I just change it and forget about it. Oh, I just cancel it without saying anything. And maybe, as you said, they won't see it.
It's like, again, like hiding the stuff under the carpet, yeah, like so no one will see it or will remember about that. But that's always
Yeah.
not the best choice.
I just wanted to just one more a sentence, add to one more sentence to the role that you said, that it was mostly, I mean, in the big part, that was the team's needs, who they wanted and what this person would support them with. And I can say that I'm pretty happy, because they said now that they are really happy with me and what I do, because that feels like this is what they needed. And exactly, they needed also a person who is closer to them, and they have regular support. And, so that's actually great to hear that this approach worked, that they asked the team as well and took into account their needs.
Yeah, because I think it's kind of rare. We tend to, especially in like big companies, we tend to create the roles based on the templates, not asking the team first, like, what are you actually missing? Yeah, what do you need? And then the person who, for example, comes to the team and is quite new, sometimes doesn't meet the team needs. And it's not that we are, for example, you on her or him is like a bad employee or bad manager. Sometimes, the needs were not checked, the needs of the team and the needs of
Yeah.
the, for example, the hiring manager were not agreed. Or sometimes even like during, this interview process, yeah, we are like on dates, actually, like we're pretending someone else, we're showing the best of ourselves, but the best that it's not actually true. Yeah, I know that we have to, like, take care of this first impression and so on. But on the other hand, how stressed you will be your whole life if you, for example, marry this person, or at work if you like take this offer and you basically, like, during the interview, you lied like crazy, and then you're joining and you're like, oh my god, what I'm doing here? Yeah, I cannot. Yeah, I don't have any competencies for doing, for example, this position.
And this is an absolutely great example you said about dating, because I even sometimes write posts on LinkedIn comparing interviews and recruitment process to dating apps and dates, because I've got experience in both, so I can tell something. And also, I'm a relationship coach, so I've got pretty wild knowledge about this as well. And if you are pretending someone else and you are playing a role, then there are two people who are actors starting a life together. And how long can you be an actor? I don't know, a few months, half a year, and then you start being kind of yourself more or less. And then you are surprised why this person, I don't know, loved going for walks, and now this person is just sitting in front of the television every day with a beer in the hand, and the other person was driving a beautiful car, and then you just learned that it was borrowed from a friend to make an impression or whatever it was. So you just kind of meeting two actors, and you can't play for long. you can try for a few months, but then this is not life, and there are a lot of frustrations coming out of it. And the same at work. I mean, if actually the employer is as honest as possible about the role, about the team, about the organizational culture, not painting the picture beautiful and like the grass is greener here than anywhere else. And the same with the person who is coming to an interview. There is the biggest chance to get a great match, like in my case, more or less. But if you're just painting the beautiful picture and then it's completely different, you've got someone, for example, who is onboarded and then 2 months later leaving the job because it was completely different than advertised, for example, or the team.
And it happens very often. Like recently, I was speaking with my mentee, and she was devastated because she joined a company that actually were like the offer itself and her responsibilities in reality were not matching at all. She was basically doing like a different role, and it can like destroy you, yeah. And also you feel disappointed, and you will not keep like employee like that within the company for a long time, yeah. He or she will start looking for a new opportunity because you feel disappointed, you feel cheated, yeah.
Yeah,
Basically it's
yeah,
it's the same like with the relationships. Come on, like, let's be honest, like
yeah. Who
if
are
you
you?
need
I don't know you. You are a different
yeah,
person.
yeah, or you're
And
a
it's the
different
same.
job.
Yeah. And if actually it's the same if you are going to an interview and you, as you said, you lie a lot. I'm a fan of telling the truth. I mean, saying it, just bringing all of the positive things and describing them as well as possible, because sometimes people just write some points which are very generic and they actually don't show your strengths and your experience and details and specifics. So that's not what I'm talking about, because you need to describe it as well as possible, but it needs to be true. And for example, I remember when I went to interview for the finance and resources manager in a charity in London, and I said, you know what, I'm more than happy to do this job, but I haven't got experience in charities accounts. I've got experience in accounts for limited company, but not charity accounts. So if you help me with this, then I'm fine to go for it. I'm up for a challenge, but I want to be honest with you from the start. And luckily for me, they had an amazing guy who was an accountant, very experienced one. And I didn't have to touch it. He was in my team. He was doing all of it. I was just checking the budget, checking the payroll, signing everything, sending the payments, but he was doing everything. So, but yeah, I was honest from the beginning. So I show my strengths, my experience, but I'm also honest about this is something that I haven't done before, but I'm happy to learn it. It's fine.
Yeah, and this approach, this mindset also, I'm happy to learn it. I don't know yet, but I'm ready to actually, take this role and learn what I miss, what I don't know right now. Um that's also important to have, yeah, when you're taking, for example, a job that it's not matching your experience like perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what we were talking at the beginning about women applying for different jobs with how much percentage, how many points you tick to be able to even apply. So I would say go for it if you feel it. Describe all of the transferable skills that you have, because it doesn't need to be exact the same experience. It could be transferable skills. For example, when I applied for the finance and resources manager, where I worked in London for 7 years, I didn't have an experience, at least official experience, as a manager before, and definitely not a finance manager. I was an accountant. I had all the qualifications. I had, my studies, etc., and courses, but I didn't have an official role as a manager before. But I told them I managed a team of up to 50 people during an international course, which was a volunteering thing. And we cooked for 5,000 people. And they asked me, and what was the outcome? And I said, no one was hungry. And they were impressed, and that was good enough.
Wow. 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 Yeah, like transferable skills.
Yeah.
That's something that matters, yeah. And sometimes we should focus more on them rather than on the kind of transferable skills, or even like titles that we are having, for example, like different roles. Yeah, we should try like different, even like roles, because we kind of are having in all of them like this kind of transferable skills. So we are, yeah, the role title,
And
whatever,
also
doesn't matter that much.
in different places, different, even if you've got the same role name, let's say, it might mean something completely different if you are in a startup, if you are in a charity, if you are in a big international corporation with 1,000 people. So even if it's called the same, you might have completely different skills or set of skills, or more or less.
Definitely agree. Because sometimes, the product manager, for example, I'm a product manager for a few days because I'm changing the role, or at least the title of the role. So yeah, I'm going to be product owner, and but for example, my remit is going to be like bigger than what I'm doing, for example, as a product manager, because I'm moving to like a smaller organization. So
Mm-hmm.
probably I will be one man army and
Yeah.
doing a lot of things, different things, and yeah, we'll see how it will go. I'm excited.
Good luck.
Starting next week.
Fingers
Thank
crossed
you.
for you.
Yeah, I'm really
Exciting.
excited. But first, I said, yeah, I'm scared, and then 2 days later, I was like, okay, I'm excited. I'm choosing that. I'm choosing that kind of narrative. I prefer to be excited. I prefer to be full of hope rather than fear and anxiety. Yeah,
And
I
see how it
choose.
goes. I will learn a lot of new things. I will meet new people. That's exciting.
That's exciting. And also, what helps me, it's actually thinking about it's not irreversible decision. If I don't like this role, it's not the last role I'm going to do for the rest
Exactly.
of my life. Yeah,
Exactly.
I can change.
We're living in such times where people, like one of my, let's say, relationships gurus, Esther Perel, she says, we used to have one husband for a life, or one partner for a life. Now we've got one partner for some time, because people used to live in one village, let's say, having one husband and one job for the whole lifespan. And that was it. End of the story. And now we can have different partners, one for 10 years, one for 20 years, one for 30 years, one for 3 years, whatever. You can have different jobs and change the direction if you are not an expert type who loves being an expert. But even an expert might want to learn something on the side if he or she wants to. Uh, and the same with, you can live in this country, then you can move to another country, then you can come back. Like my friends, they are laughing at me that I traveled the whole world to go back to Bytom, which is my hometown in Silesia. Yeah, but the journey wasn't linear again, because after London, I felt I would never live in Bytom. It's impossible after London. But there were a few more steps. There was Wrocław, there was Portugal, and then there was Bytom. And in this order, that was possible.
Because you needed to experience some things. You wanted experiences, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't want to regret that you stayed for your whole life in one place. So
Yeah,
you
I followed
decided
my
to.
bliss, basically, what I said before.
Yeah, and I love that. Yeah, I love that. That's why I was writing to you. Yeah, it wasn't a mistake. It was destiny,
No,
really. I believe in
definitely,
destiny. It was destiny.
definitely.
Like, so coming back to the question, in your experience, like how crucial is having support and mentoring to develop yourself, to develop your skills?
I mean, this is something that I mentioned already before, that you need to have supportive people around you. And it doesn't matter if it's a mentor coach or if it's your partner or your best friend, whoever. And to be honest, I learned that sometimes you need to let go some relationships in your life completely. Some of them, it's good to kind of uh, limit. So instead of listening to the same friends just moaning for 1.5 hours on the phone how life is bad and how your ideas are crazy, just say, you know what, i I really don't want to hear it anymore unless you want to change something, because it doesn't give me anything and it doesn't give you anything, because you're just moaning but you are not changing anything. So being assertive and also putting the borders up a little bit when needed, setting the borders and saying, you know what, if you want to hang out, go to the cinema, go for a walk, go for a coffee, go, I don't know, cycling, go swimming, whatever, go for a trip, or go for a concert, or just talk about how your life is at the moment and what are you learning, then fine. But if you want to call me and moan for 1.5 hours, I'm sorry, but I'm not available for that. Unless you start changing something really. Because it's just like, I'm going to use a horrible word, but just being open to someone vomiting on you, basically. And that's not helpful, and that's not needed, and you don't need it, you don't want it, and you've got a choice. You can say, you know what, I'm done with it, I've got enough of it. So let me know when you want to hang out and do something meaningful or something interesting or something positive. And I'm not saying that, I mean, you can't listen to your friend who's got from time to time some problems, but looking for some, for example, help and actually doing something with it. But if they're not doing anything with it, then I'm sorry, but I'm not this, container for the vomits.
I totally agree. But on the other hand, sometimes we also don't. Sometimes we are kind of these supporters and rescuers, yeah,
Yeah.
that take all
That we
this,
need to recognize as well in ourselves, because that's also a role that we sometimes play because of our childhood. We are a rescuer.
Hmm.
And, that's also a program. And I'm not saying that, you can't hear your friend having a bad time, but also it has to be a balance in this relationship. Can you
Hmm.
sometimes say about your bad day and also, share? Or it's always this person doing this and you are always the supporter? Is there a balance or not?
Totally agree. Totally agree. That there needs to be a balance, but also this kind of, okay, we have the meetings where we are talking about our problems, for example, because this is like a
Mhm.
difficult stage in my life. But the other time we are going to the cinema together, or we are, for
Exactly.
example, going for a walk. Like, let's do something exciting from time to time, yeah? Or maybe let's do something exciting and like developing us more often than just mooring and saying like, oh my God, it's like so difficult all the time. It's so
Yeah, I
difficult.
can
Yeah.
even say, an example of my brother who was like laughing at me at the same time, just saying, how is that possible? Like when I came back to Poland 2.5 years ago, and I decided to stay here and I started looking for a job, and I haven't been here for 16 years. As I said, no one knowed me, and I didn't know the job market, etc. And he said, how come you can't find a job after like 3 months? And I told him, because I know what I'm looking for. So I was looking for a role which was remote and within something that I was good at, etc. So I wasn't
Hmm.
looking for a job in Biedronka. I wasn't looking for, but even probably they wouldn't take me because they would say that I'm overqualified, even if I went there.
But you basically knew what you wanted, so you decided to wait instead
to,
of just
to
jumping
keep
into
to keep
anything.
searching, to keep sending, CVs, to keep attending interviews. And fair enough, it wasn't easy for me. And also, actually at the time I needed support, mental support, that, it's going to be fine. I've got your back. I believe in you. And nothing happened. Nothing like that happened. He was like, how come you can't find a job after 3 months? So it was the opposite approach. So I said to him, you know what, leave me alone. And if this is how you're going to, communicate with me, just better not. So we had a time when I just didn't want to even, call him. So it's sometimes it's just a period of time when it's better to separate, because you know which direction you're going. You believe in yourself. And the most important is believing in yourself. Because if no one else does, who can? Only you. So I believed in myself, but he didn't, as you can see. And now I'm actually doing what I wanted. And it took me a while, but you know,
But you made it, yeah? You made
yeah,
it and you can be proud of yourself. And yeah, as you said before, sometimes the best choice is to actually limit or cut off some people, even for some time.
yeah,
Because if you're starting to question your goals, question your dreams, when being with these people, maybe it's the best way to just, you know, take different routes. Yeah, maybe you're not meant to be either like friends or just, I don't know, supporters or whoever to each other. And it's okay. No one is like a bad person.
but sometimes, it's just like we grow, and we are different people than when we were in the college. So let's say that you've got friends from the college and they went certain directions and you went different directions, and for some time still you might have catch up for a beer, or go somewhere or have a dinner. But after some time you realize that you just completely different people. You've got less and less in common. And sometimes it's just the relationship for certain period of your life, but maybe not for the next one.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just the kind of, again, a choice, yeah, to maintain some relationships, for example, from college, because you still want to be friends, even if you see that you have basically like completely different life paths, and you have like completely different interests and are completely different people. At the end, sometimes it's about the motivation and choice to still maintain these relationships or just let them go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they might have different paths, they might have different interests, but if you are happy for your success, for your dreams, for your ideas, they kind of say, we believe in you, we support you, even though we do something completely different, don't worry, but you've got your own dreams, go for it. Then perfect. That's amazing.
But if it's the opposite and they say like, "Oh my God, you came up with a crazy idea," like, what are you doing, girl? Then it's better to like let them go. Yeah, sometimes when you actually limit or finish some kind of relationships that do not work anymore, you create a space in your life for the new beginnings. Yeah, for new
Definitely.
people.
And you are a different person. So it's like, in our life, if we develop, we change our identity. Literally, we become a different person because we let go of those limiting beliefs, for example, from the childhood or from the young age. And then we've got a new beliefs, and we are a new person, more or less. So definitely a different door opens for us.
We discussed a lot of topics, a lot of relationship connected, team connected, mentoring. Yeah, so various topics. I really like it. I really like our conversation. If you would like to emphasize on one most important piece of advice from our conversation, what would it be?
I think what's the most important is knowing yourself, so being self-aware. So for me, it's like a life journey. This is so important, because if you don't know yourself, how would you know what you like? How would you know what's good for you? How would you know what inspires you, what energizes you, what are you passionate about? What kind of relationship would you like? What kind of career direction would work for you? Whether it would be a small team, a big team, a corporation, and climbing the ladder, or just working as an expert, one person department. You just need to get to know yourself as much as possible, because it doesn't. There was this picture or this saying that you can climb the ladder, but you might have the ladder next to the wrong mountain. And what's the point of climbing the wrong mountain? So you can climb and climb and climb, be on the top, but then you realize it's not this mountain. So getting to know yourself as much as possible, and what's interesting for you, what excites you, what you're good at, what you like doing, with whom you like working on your own, or with people. I think this is crucial in terms of career, but also relationships. Because if you don't know what kind of relationship you want, what works for you, what doesn't, what are your values, what are your needs, if you don't know this, how can you build a relationship that works for you, that suits you? Then you just go for the first nice looking guy, but that doesn't work. So that's just going back to the example of dating. But and also building your self-worth very deeply, and self-love actually very deeply inside of you. Because if you believe in yourself, and if you know that you are worthy just because you are, and you've got some skills, you've got some experiences, but that's just an add-on on you as a human being having a value just because you are here in this world. So just working on this deep feeling of self-value and self-love, I think this is crucial.
Yeah, the moment you start realizing that you're enough, you're actually enough, there is like nothing can stop you basically, yeah? Because if you doubt in yourself, you're looking for, a recipe or someone else recipe for success, or someone else, I don't know, add on to your life, or basically some other person that will make your dreams come true, instead of like taking the steer and making your life according to your dreams, your wishes, and your values.
And believe in yourself, because no one will, even if no one will, if you believe in yourself, you've got this inner knowing, this inner motivation, this inner calling, this inner voice that says, I believe in you, girl. Okay, maybe not today, maybe not next week, maybe not next month, maybe next year, but you are going this direction, and it's going to happen because you are good, and you're believing in yourself, and you've got your own back. And that's, in my opinion, very important.
Definitely, it's important. And it's hard work. I mean, believing in yourself, it's like
Yeah,
daily task. Yeah, you have to remind yourself
yeah.
every day that you're good enough, that you did a good job, that that you are appreciating the stage you're in life right now. Because without that kind of appreciation and um, gratitude.
And discipline helps, because certain things it's good to do, because self-confidence comes to us with action. It's not just sitting and thinking, I will be
Mm.
more confident, let's be more confident. That comes with action. So actually going out of our comfort zone, even a little bit. So you can try something new the next day. You can go to a class next day that you've never been to. You can learn a new skill, which is not very complicated, but you haven't done it before. Learn something new, or I don't know, meet with people you've never met before. These are little things, but they all add up to your self-confidence, and they are based on actions. And what Ewelina Stępnicka says, love yourself always. That means always, when you're feeling great and when you're feeling shit. The same way, love yourself always, because you can have a good day, you can have a bad day. It's normal. Everyone has. Even if people smile when you see them, they might be at home and cry another day. So if you've got a worst day, give yourself this permission to, okay, I'm not going to do anything today. I need to rest, go under my duvet and have a nice tea and do nothing. That's it. Today is the day.
So, what are you most excited about in your career or private life in this year?
To be honest, I'm at this stage of my life, or at the moment at least, that I go with the flow more or less. So basically, last year I was really happy that I joined this great team that I really enjoy working with, and I will see what I can learn, how this will go this year. There is a lot of things to do, a lot of challenges, I'm sure, still. But yeah, I basically take things as they come. I like challenges, and I just, overcome them. Just take them on and go. So I'm really open to whatever comes. And yeah, I don't have certain plans or specific, let's say, goals. I actually stopped setting goals. I listen more to my intuition and what comes that I get excited about. And I don't know if there is something that comes up that is interesting and I haven't done it before, or it wasn't in my space, I probably just go for it as well. Like, for example, additional project, or like I'm a mentor also in tech leaders. So that's not new because I was a mentor last year as well. It's starting just now. So that's something that I'm doing and I'm excited about as well because I've got new mentees. And let's see.
Exciting. I mean, I'm a mentor too in tech leaders because I
Yeah.
felt like I need to pay, I want to pay the
Mhm.
debt and yeah, like give back everything that I've got. Yeah. Or just maybe not give back, but yeah, share it with the world, with other women. Because I believe that this kind of programs are changing our mentality. You can't be something or someone unless you see it. You can't imagine that. Or, I mean, you can if you're super creative, but very often we need to have a role model or someone who supports us or someone who believes in us
Or some
to,
inspiration.
yeah, exactly. Someone who is going to show you, like, you can do that. Yeah, I did it. So let's go there together.
Yeah, and just one more sentence apart, when going back to the topic of people close to us who support us or not, different relationships coming and going, letting them go. Actually, I don't know if you've heard of it. I'm sure that you have, because it's pretty common that we are a sum of 5 people we spend the most time with. That's why if you've got, let's say, 5 shitty relationships around you, I mean, like, those that don't support you, they bring you down, they even, call you names sometimes. Horrible people do that. And they are toxic or something. Then imagine who you're becoming. And if you've got people around you who are supportive, like, for example, your mentor in tech leaders last year, who you got inspired by and you saw a different perspective and other things, it's because this person is doing things that inspire you and is a person that you would like to learn from. And imagine that you've got 5 people like that around you. Or even online, I'm not talking even person to person, but even online, you catching up with this person, sometimes this person, or a group of people who are, inspiring for you, that changes your mindset, your thinking of what's possible and how you can do things differently. It definitely broadens your point of view.
And it changes this kind of energy around you and also like possibilities. Yeah. It opens a completely different ways of thinking, ways of living, and yeah. So yeah, your environment also influences you. Yeah, we cannot forget about that. Although the change starts with you and with the choice. Still, like the environment can also slow it down, for example, or kind of stop it if you're not ready to, for example, change the environment, it can stop you for a while or forever.
Yeah, if you're in a toxic environment, it might destroy you even very much psychologically. You can end up, on a therapy because it was so toxic that you just, I mean, if you come, let's say, whether it's work or even romantic relationship, you come there, you every day for so many hours, you see those people or this person, and it's just destroying you.
Yeah, Aga, for our listeners who would like to connect with you, yeah, we were supposed to wrap up, but somehow it
Yeah,
it, it
we
turned
opened up
out to
loudly.
be another
Yeah.
conversation. But the last question: where people can find you if they are interested in working with you or listening to more of your messages?
If someone would like to connect with me kind of professionally, but not necessarily professionally, I'm on LinkedIn, and this is the place where I am quite often because of my let's say professional profile, but also I connect with people there, and sometimes I post something, not so much recently because my job's taken a lot, but I've got some previous posts, and also possibly on Instagram, which is not so official. It's Aga Sobczak with Brave Heart. And I don't really post there much, but if someone wants to just say hi or whatever, or ask a question, probably if it comes to professional questions, LinkedIn would be better. So Aga Sobczak on LinkedIn, that would be the place to just say hi. Or like me, because sometimes I know that people I don't know whether they're not able to add me or not. So if you follow me, I normally invite people. I'm pretty open to new connections. So
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Aga, thank you very much for our conversation. It was both inspiring and, yeah, like questioning some ideas that I have in my private and professional life. So I will have more thoughts to digest and like to work on them. So
don't
thank
take
you very
my
much for
words
that.
for it. Just check it for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to do that. But sometimes, you have that kind of one sentence that it's like working with you,
Hmm.
and finally, like you find the answer. Yeah. So,
Clicks. Hmm.
yeah. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Right.
And
Thank you so much for your invitation, and it was great that we connected in such a strange way, but it
unusual
wasn't
way. Yeah.
strange. Unusual as it happens quite often in my life, anyway.
Yeah. Really happy to have you here, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Have a great evening and weekend as well.
Thanks for joining me on another episode of Doing It My Way by Beata Matras. If you enjoyed this episode, please do not forget to subscribe. Remember, this podcast is a dynamic journey and your feedback is very welcomed. Connect with me on social media. I would like to hear your thoughts, questions, and topic suggestions. And stay tuned for upcoming episodes. And until next time, keep doing it your way.